A single cannonball, one moment, and the fate of France hangs in the balance. July 27, 1675. The greatest military mind in Europe stands on a hillside, victory within his grasp. In seconds, he will be dead, and 50,000 men will stand paralyzed, their triumph turned to catastrophe. This is the story of how one death changed everything. Winter, 1675. Europe is transfixed by news from the frozen mountains of Alsace. Marshal Turenne has done the impossible, destroying 2 imperial armies at Turckheim in a single, devastating stroke. In the coffee houses of London, men devour the news sheets. In Versailles, King Louis XIV himself reads aloud Turenne's letter, written 2 months before the battle, predicting with uncanny precision exactly how his enemies would fall into his trap. The 64-year-old general is now more than a commander. He is a legend, a military savant whose genius borders on the supernatural. When he returns to Paris that spring, the scenes are unprecedented. Every town, every village turns out to honor him. The capital erupts in celebration unlike anything in living memory. Turenne, overwhelmed but touched, dreams of retirement, of quiet days with the fathers of the oratory. But his enemies have other plans. Across the Rhine, the Holy Roman Empire seethes with humiliation. They need a champion, someone who can match Turenne's brilliance. They find him in Raimondo Montecuccoli, an Italian who started as a common soldier at 16 and rose to command armies across Europe. His resume reads like a roll call of history. Breitenfeld, Lützen, Nördlingen. He has fought Swedes and Turks, earned the Golden Fleece, and every honor the empire can bestow. 2 years earlier, he outmaneuvered Turenne himself, seizing Bonn while the French marshal watched helplessly. Now, in the spring of 1675, Emperor Leopold hands him an army of 32,000 men with a single order: destroy France. Louis XIV has only one response. He summons Turenne from his brief retirement and sends him back to the killing fields of Alsace. The stage is set for a clash of titans, May 1675. 2 masters begin their deadly dance. Montecuccoli masses his forces at Willstedt, eyeing the vital city of Strasbourg. But when he arrives to cross the Rhine, Turenne is already there, his 20,000 men blocking the way like a guard dog that refuses to move. The Italian tries a feint, marching 50 miles north to Philipsburg. Turenne doesn't bite. He knows Montecuccoli's main army remains at Kehl, waiting for the French to take the bait. Montecuccoli even crosses the Rhine himself, a grand show of force. Turenne still doesn't move. Embarrassed, the Imperial general retreats. Then Turenne strikes. Overnight, he builds a pontoon bridge, crosses and seizes Willstedt, Montecuccoli's own headquarters. Now he controls the crossing at Kehl. The Italian marches to Offenburg, threatens Turenne's bridge. The French marshal calmly moves it upstream. For weeks this continues, thrust and parry, maneuver and counter-maneuver, not a single shot fired in anger. Yet both armies are locked in mortal struggle. Then the stalemate begins to bite. Montecuccoli's army runs short of supplies. He withdraws to the confluence of the Wrench and Rhine, planning to be resupplied by river from Strasbourg. But Turenne is already at Freistadt, requisitioning boats, occupying Rhine islands, positioning artillery to blast any imperial ship that dares run the gauntlet. The French seem invincible, but they're suffering too. The unseasonably wet summer turns their camps into marshes. Disease spreads. Men begin to grumble. The veterans silence them. He is our father, they say of Turenne. Trust in him. On July 15th, Turenne finds a local shepherd who knows a secret, a ford through the woods, just 500 paces from Montecuccoli's camp, hidden from view by the trees. For 3 nights, French engineers cut paths and build a bridge in complete silence. The Imperials, incredibly, hear nothing. When Montecuccoli discovers the bridge on July 18th, he realizes the truth. He is surrounded. The Rhine blocks his back, the French control his flanks and front. He is trapped. He has only one option left: fight. July 23rd. Darkness falls. Montecuccoli plans a desperate gamble, a coordinated night attack from 3 directions. 4,000 men will strike Turenne's secret bridge, while his main force assaults the French camp. The signal: 4 cannon fired simultaneously. The Imperial general and his men wait in the cold darkness. Hours crawl by. They hear distant musket fire, but the cannons remain silent. The attack force, guided through the mist-shrouded terrain, never finds the bridge. Some whisper that Turenne bribed the guides. Montecuccoli waits in vain, furious. Then the Duke of Lorraine returns with shocking news. He had led his column on what should have been a secret march. When French soldiers materialized out of the fog, Turenne himself at their head. The 60-year-old general had anticipated everything, positioning his entire army to intercept them. After a fierce firefight that left 100 Imperials dead, Lorraine retreated. Turenne pursues and seizes Gamschurst. The encirclement is complete. The French now control every escape route. The Imperials are pinned against the Rhine. It is a masterpiece of military art. July 26th. Montecuccoli withdraws to Salzbach, fortifying the church and surrounding ditches. It's a strong position, but both men know time is running out. The next morning, July 27th, Turenne rides out on horseback to scout enemy positions. The church defences are too strong. The right flank is a maze of trenches and streams, unassailable. But the left flank is wide open. Better still, Turenne finds a narrow defile that will allow his troops to pour directly into the valley where the Imperial army concentrates. He returns to headquarters. "It is done," he tells his commanders. "I have them. They cannot escape me. I shall now reap the fruit of this fatiguing campaign." He writes to King Louis, "Expect news of victory soon." He orders an advance party into the defile, then calmly sits under a tree for lunch, enjoying a rare moment of sunshine after weeks of rain. Meanwhile, his main force forms up before the Imperial positions to mask his true intention. Artillery begins a light bombardment. The perfunctory shots echo across the valley. Turenne finishes his meal, remounts, and tells his staff he's going to observe the battle. He may need to adjust formations. They should stay back, he says. No need to make an easy target. His nephew, the Vicomte de Lorges, watches him ride away with only the Duke of Hamilton at his side. On the hillside, cannonballs begin to fly. The Imperials have spotted the flanking force in the defile. Panic spreads through Montecuccoli's lines as they realize Turenne's trap is springing shut. Musket fire erupts like dry wood on a bonfire. The artillery duel intensifies. Turenne crests a small rise near his own guns to survey the battlefield. He calls for his chief of artillery, Armand de Saint-Hilaire, resplendent in his red cape, his young son riding alongside. Turenne needs some cannons repositioned and sends Saint-Hilaire forward to scout better placements. The Duke of Hamilton urges Turenne to move back. They're exposed here. Imperial rounds are exploding nearby. "I will do as you say," Turenne replies, "for I do not want to die today." He moves back a few paces. Saint-Hilaire returns, points with his outstretched arm and hat, asking if the new positions are satisfactory. Turenne follows the line of his hand, about to respond, when Saint-Hilaire's entire arm explodes in a shower of blood and bone. The men around them freeze in horror. Saint-Hilaire's son rushes to his father. Then they notice Turenne. He's swaying, takes one step forward, another falls. The same cannonball that shattered Saint-Hilaire's arm has struck Turenne in the midsection. Hands catch him as he collapses. "I did not want to die today," he whispers. On the Imperial side, Montecuccoli rallies his men, a cannonball killing his horse beneath him. He survives, stays in the line, preparing for the French onslaught he knows must come, but it never does. Word reaches him from a French deserter. Turenne is dead. The Italian commander pauses, removes his hat. Today died a man who did honor to mankind. In the French headquarters, chaos. Lorges assumes command, but the Marquis de Vaubrun disputes it. They argue over seniority while their army stands paralyzed. Saint-Hilaire, his arm mangled, sees his son weeping. He points to Turenne's covered body. "Hold your peace, my child. There is something for which the whole world should weep, and weep forever." The grief spreads like wildfire through the ranks. From rear to front, from officer to common soldier, men begin to weep openly. Some veterans demand they loose Turenne's horse toward the enemy, let it lead them in one final charge. But there is no one to give the order. The French withdraw. Orderly, but broken. The Imperials, still behind their fortifications, don't pursue. Assured victory has become complete disaster in the span of a heartbeat. France had stood on the brink of triumph. Turenne's brilliance had once again conjured victory from impossible odds. In one more hour, perhaps two, the Imperial army would have been destroyed or captured. Instead, Montecuccoli remains in place, his army intact, knowing his greatest enemy is gone. Will he now attack the leaderless French and complete his revenge? Will Louis XIV resolve the command dispute in time to save his army? The nation that had celebrated Turenne's genius in winter now mourns him in summer. The man who had saved France so many times has fallen at the moment of his greatest triumph, felled by a random shot from a distant cannon. One ball, one moment, everything changed. In the years to come, military theorists would study this campaign, marveling at Turenne's final masterpiece. But they would also ponder the cruel irony that the greatest general of his age died not in decisive battle, but in the instant before victory, from a cannonball that might have missed him by inches if he had stayed where he stood. Such is the nature of war, genius and chance, forever intertwined. If you want to see what happened next to the leaderless French army, how Montecuccoli responded to this incredible twist of fate, and whether France survived this catastrophe, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most dramatic military campaigns, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. History is full of these moments where everything changes in an instant, and we're just getting started.